I'm calling this week Charlie Mike the podcast week because this is the first of two different episodes recorded live from Pearland Podcast Studio. Of course, these are the stories that make the greater Houston area great. One such individual I am proud to call my friend, and his name is Raul Moreno. And during this episode, we're going to talk about his time in the Army. We're going to talk about overcoming addiction and how you can live your best life and how he is inspiring others to do the same.
Hi, I'm Ed Sheeran.
This is Bruno Mars.
Hey, it's Katy Perry.
This is your man Flo Rida with Freddie Cruz.
This is AJ Mitchell with Freddie Cruz.
Freddie Cruz.
Freddie Cruz.
Your little Chico pick Mr. 305 and you already know what it is.
My name is Freddie, and it's time to cruise through HTX.
Man, that was an intro, bro.
You,
Man,
my man, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having us,
That's-
man. We definitely thank you.
In your space, but welcome to my show, but it's in your space. So thank you for having me to welcome you to my show.
I'm so confused.
William would say it's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah. He's definitely he's tough on me, man.
All joking aside, we met several years ago, and I was like, we got to get this dude on. This is a previous radio career of mine, and I'm like, I love what he's doing. But it was only until a few months ago that I realized just, you have went through some dark times, and I knew a little bit about it. So we can start wherever you want to start.
We joined the military in 2005, and I got out in 2015. So I did 10 years, a few months, and it was some of the toughest, and I always tell people my military service was some of the best and worst times of my life. You know, I got to make different friends from all over the United States and different experience different cultures. You know, I got to travel the world, some places that I could have done without, but, it is what it is.
And so when you got back, this is sort of the part that I didn't know about. I mean, I knew kind of that you were suffering from PTSD, but then there was the addiction.
Yeah, so I was getting out of the military. And me and my in-laws are real close, man. My is it ex-in-laws? I think they're ex-in-laws. Well, anyways, they're my family. So I'm getting out of the military, and they say, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna stay in Killeen until, I got a place down there or whatever. And they were like, no, you're not. You're going to come home. If you sign out on Friday, we want you here Saturday. And I was like, oh, okay. But not knowing. Man, when I got back, I put them through hell. Like, because I was drinking, and I wasn't comfortable being myself. I was looking for an escape. I wasn't used to being around family 24/7. I wasn't used to being around people like that. I guess normal people. I was always used to being around veterans and soldiers and things like that. So I turned to alcohol to try to ease myself into it. But alcohol has never been a friend to anybody that has the last name Moreno in my family. It's always been an addiction. It's always been, my mother struggled with it. My brother is currently struggling with it. My mother passed at an early age because of alcohol. She passed in her 30s. My mother and father both passed away early. So it was different. So we experienced death at an early age.
I empathize with that because my grandfather had some demons too, and alcoholism took him out. And this is somebody who could have easily lived into his 90s and possibly as old as his dad, who made it to 92 or 93. And it's interesting because depending on who you're talking to, you could sound like one of those temperance people from the Prohibition days. And it's like, well, we don't want to prohibit alcohol use.
Right.
It's just not for me. And yeah.
That's definitely it. And I tell that to there's nothing wrong with drinking. There's nothing wrong with it. If you know how to do it. And I I never knew how to do it. Ever since I was young, I never knew how to do it. When I would do things, I'd do it to an extreme, and that was it. It was drinking. And then once I got out of the military, I drank to help me sleep. I drank to help me feel normal. I drank to let me around crowds. I drank, I did a lot of that. So once I got out, I lived with my in-laws for a little bit. And then I was just a horrible person to be around because I was drunk all the time. So I ended up getting into my own place, and I did the same. I didn't feel like there was a problem. I continued to drink every day. I would take my daughter to school, and a lot of times I would stay in the parking lot all day while she was at school because I didn't want to go anywhere else because I know I would end up at a bar. So I'd be that weirdo that just slept in the parking lot all day waiting for her to get out of school. Because when I was with her, I felt like I was normal. I felt like, she kind of eased, she made things better. So after years, I kept drinking and I started to experiment in drugs and drinking. And it wasn't until, I knew there was a problem, but I didn't know how bad it really was. And I didn't know the reasons behind it. So this was actually crazy because Veterans Day, it was Veterans Day here in Pearland. So I had went out to a cook-off and I was out drinking, and then I got home, and then I was like, okay, I'm hungry. So I decided to leave the apartment, and then I got in my car and I drove down the road, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Whataburger. So I was on the left lane. Then I changed my mind. I was like, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. So I got in the right lane, then changed my mind again, and was like, I do want Whataburger. So I ended up getting pulled over. I got pulled over for indecisive lane changing.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a ticket?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indecisive lane change. But, I didn't ask questions because, it saved my life, man. So that was the reason I got pulled over. And the police officer did a field sobriety test because he walked up to the window and was like, hey, it smells like alcohol. And I was like, yeah, I've been drinking, So.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So he took me in. We did the process. To this day, me and that police officer are friends.
Get out.
Yes.
Well, it makes sense.
A week after I had got out, I went to go find him. And I looked for him at the police department, and people thought I was so weird because I was like, hey, I'm looking for this police officer who arrested me. And nobody. So when I finally met him and finally got to talk to him, I said, hey, look, I want to tell you this. I apologize if I was disrespectful that night in any way. And he tells me, he goes, look, Raul, he goes, I've arrested a lot of drunk people in my life. And he goes, and you were the most politest drunk I ever taken to jail. I was like, well, thank you.
It's one hell of a compliment.
Yeah, I was like,
you were a friendly drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I normally don't get that. So I got in trouble. My mugshot was everywhere. I was at the time I was trying to be, I was in the community. People knew who I was because I was very active with the local VFW. Mm-hmm. So once, I grew up in this town. I went to elementary school here, high school, graduated. I did all that, and my mugshot came out, and it was everywhere.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was on Facebook. It was everywhere.
Oh, so, there was Facebook. Okay, that's right. You're young, so there was Facebook.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's kind of MySpace, same thing.
MySpace,
your age.
Yeah. Or the newspaper.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
So it came out, man. It went everywhere.
Who put you on Facebook though?
The Brazoria County. Yeah. The local PD. They used to do this thing every week. They'd release a bunch of mug shots and they'd put you out there. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
No hard feelings. I learned from it, so I ended up I got in trouble. I ended up getting into this veterans court program. This veteran court program where you have to do all these counselings. You have to do intense counseling in the VA, out of the VA. You have to do drug tests basically every day for drugs and alcohol. So I was, at the beginning, I said this before, at the beginning, I was just doing it to check the box. I was like, okay, look, I messed up. Let me get over it. Mm-hmm. I'll do whatever they want me to do. And then I'll go back to being me. Mm-hmm. So I started doing it. I made it 6 months. And I was like, all right, cool. 6 months, cool. Made it a year without drinking, without drugs. And I was like, this feels good.
And that's a long time, too.
Yeah. But I was still in this program. So I was like, I'm not going to say that this is going to be forever. Mm-hmm. I graduated the program. I was like, man, that felt good. So I started to do things that I never thought I would do. We started the apparel brand. During COVID, we started the podcast. Towards the end of COVID, we started the podcast. And, I hit 2 years. I'm already out of the program. I actually went back to the program and spoke as a guest to the other graduates and to the other people, the other veterans, which was an awesome experience just to be part of or asked to. It's just so much that I hit 4 years in June, and I'm still rocking, man.
What did it feel like when you got the call to go speak to the graduates?
It's surreal. It was definitely a feeling like, why me? But at the same time, I worked the program. I did everything they asked me to do, and then some. I did the counselings. I knew it was helping me, so I took more counseling. I got serious with everything. I knew towards the end, I noticed that the alcohol was my issue. Mm-hmm. And the alcohol is, everything negative that happened in my life was surrounded around alcohol. Everything, and man, I'm 4 years. We're in the studio, Freddie. This is stupid.
Looking at, because I met you in 2018. I don't think it was 20. Maybe it was 2017.
I think it was 18.
Yeah, 18? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I met you in 2018 and not having any idea of what you had experienced. And so just seeing how you've grown, not just the podcast, the business, the apparel line, but then knowing that you did all this after recovering from that makes it even more incredible. And it makes me want to be a better person. And it makes me proud to know you.
I appreciate it, man. We're definitely, I'm far from perfect. I still make mistakes in life.
Hey, we all do, man. Yeah. That's life, dude. That's life.
I'm living it one day at a time.
Yeah.
When we started the apparel brand, Freddie, the whole concept was, I remember one night laying on the floor. I had a gun and I was drinking. And this was after I had gotten in trouble, before I started the court program. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish this bottle of alcohol and then I'm going to end it. I was at peace, but I was hurting, like physically, mentally, emotionally. I was done. I was tired. And I was okay with it. And I was like, once I finish the bottle of alcohol, I'm going to end it. I ended up passing out before I finished the bottle of alcohol. Mm. And then the next couple of days, I remember like that feeling of being alone and feeling like nobody understood what I was going through. And just that feeling. And I was like, I need to do something different. I need to. So I was listening to a song called Charlie Mike. It's by this veteran singer. He was in the Army. He got out and started making music. His name is Soldier Hard. So he's got a song on there called Charlie Mike. And in the military, Charlie Mike means continue the mission. So continue mission. And by that, they mean regardless of whatever it is, pick yourself up and keep doing what you were doing, regardless of the situation. So within the next couple of days, I was like, I want to do something because I don't want nobody to ever feel the way I felt that night on that floor, like I was alone, like nobody understood what I was going through. Nobody understood me as a person. That's where Charlie Mike the brand came. Charlie Mike Military Apparel, the brand came out, and the whole concept was behind, the whole mission was to bring awareness to veteran suicide and the prevention of veteran suicide, to make sure that nobody ever felt the way that I felt that night. And if we saved one veteran's life, one first responder's life, that the mission was complete. We've done that. We've done that on I don't even know how many now. Like with the text messages, the emails, the DMs, like, hey, you saved my life. You helped me push through, just a little. We have a lot of fun here, man. We do a lot of dumb things, but at the same time,
I don't think you've ddone anything dumb. You and William have never done anything dumb at all.
Stick around a little bit.
Being sarcastic there.
So man, we tried to get a message across, but at the same time, we have fun, and it's the same thing with the podcast. So with the podcast, we brought it into life because towards the end of COVID. Okay, so when COVID started, man, the apparel brand, of course, went downhill because nobody was shopping. Nobody's buying apparel to sit around the house.
They're buying toilet paper.
Yeah, oh man, what for
People
real? I still don't understand
Jesus,
that.
Man.
I was using shirts, but but yeah, I still don't understand that. But whatever.
Who wipes their asses with shirts?
Hey man, when you own a shirt company, that's what you do.
I don't have time for toilet paper. He's all fancy now.
Yeah, bougie. Man, but yeah, so with the podcast, it was something like I still wanted to reach people, but I didn't know how. So I was like, okay, well, let me jump on this podcast game. So I put something out on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. And my buddy down the road has a tattoo place, is Blacklist Tattoos. So he says, he replies, I went to high school with him, we grew up together, and he's like, hey, come see me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went to go see him, and he's like, hey, he had this equipment. And he goes, hey, this should get you started. And then I was like, whoa, what? And he's like, hey, figure out your podcast thing. We'll worry about money and do all that stuff later, man. Just get it going. And I walked out with all this equipment, and then I got a book that said How to Podcast for Dummies, Freddie. And that's how it all started. I still got the book in my office, man.
Turn the mic on. Start talking.
Yeah, for real. And we started it in a closet, just with a couple of people, doing Zooms and things like that, with other veterans, nonprofits. And it took off. And I met these great people that are looking over here at us kind of crazy right now. And it's been an amazing ride.
I just like that you got started instead of overanalyzing and overthinking it, and not to get too much into the business side of podcasting and whatnot. But I mean, that's sort of the struggle that a lot of people have just with anything. It doesn't even have to be a podcast. It could be a book, or it could be a painting, or recording a song, or asking a woman on a date, whatever, applying for your dream job. Is getting out of your head and just doing the thing. And the worst that can happen is nothing.
Yeah.
If you just, which is the same spot that you're in. If you literally do nothing, you don't get the job. No one listens to the song. No one listens to the podcast. Well, you know what? At least you tried. But thankfully, people are listening to the podcast, and you evolved, and now you're in this badass studio.
It's crazy. I still don't understand it. I don't know how things worked out the way it worked out. I've been blessed to have some amazing people around me. I met William. Well, William stalked me for a little bit, just so you know. he contacted me on Facebook, Instagram, my Tinder account. He was everywhere.
Oh man, how many selfies did he send you?
Man, he sent me every morning. Every morning. Yeah, he would say, "Good morning, sunshine." Yeah.
I will shave my mustache if you put me on the podcast.
No, you know what? I tell people all the time. I like, that was the thing when I brought William in. I told him, I said, "Hey man, if you shave your mustache, you're off the team."
And by the way, people listening, he has a badass mustache. So yeah,
When we met, we clicked, and I brought him on the podcast, and we talked, man. And then it was just like, I like this dude. His energy, everything about him was just what I wanted. What was missing in the brand, in the podcast, like, okay, so I like to do things, but Freddie, I don't like going out there and taking pictures and shaking hands and shaking babies. I don't like doing all that stuff.
I don't think you're supposed to shake babies, dude.
Did I say shake babies? Oh, my bad. You know.
I think we know. Well, you shouldn't. Nobody should like to. It's okay that you don't like to shake babies. Yeah. We don't want any shake.
All right. Yeah.
But you don't want to kiss babies either.
Yeah. I don't. Don't shake them. Don't kiss them. Don't. I don't like doing either one.
And thank God you don't.
So I met William, and man, William likes doing that stuff. Well, he don't like shaking babies, but he likes.
I'm actually crying.
I'm trying to reel it in.
Okay, we're good. He is a podcast professional, everybody.
I've said crazier shit.
What would you tell Raul on that night? You can go back. Time machine.
Charlie Mike. Say, hey, man, continue the mission. Charlie Mike. God's got a purpose for you, man. You're going to realize what your reason for living, what your reason for the struggle is, what your reason to keep pushing, man. And it was to try to inspire people, try to let people know that you can struggle, but yet you can be successful. You can fall, just get back up. It's just, everybody's got a reason. Everybody's got a reason to be, a purpose. You just got to find that purpose, man. It's not saying that it's podcasting for everybody, not saying that whatever it is. Your story can change somebody else's life.
What's your favorite story out of all this? I know you've got many. You've told me the text messages, the DMs.
There was I think this was 2 Christmases ago. 2 Christmases ago, I got a package in the mail, and then I went to open the package. I opened it up, and it was an Apple Watch, and I kind of looked at it. I was like, dang. Because I do this crazy thing when I take Ambien. I take Ambien to sleep at night. I don't just take it for random, willy-nilly. But, did I say willy-nilly?
You said willy-nilly.
So I take Ambien to help me sleep at night because I have insomnia, really bad. And a lot of times I purchase things when I'm on Ambien. Yeah, so it gets pricey. So I got this package in the mail, and I was like, oh man, I did it again. So I got the Apple Watch out, and I was looking at it. I was like, man, this is nice.
Raul, you got great taste in watches.
I think I'm gonna keep it. Yeah. So I picked it up, and I looked at the bottom, and there was a letter. I still have the letter. It's in my house, and then it says, "Thank you for saving my life. Love, a grateful soldier." That's all it said. That's all it said, Freddie. It didn't say nothing else. It didn't say from who, from what, from anything. And I sat there and I cried for like an hour, just like unbelievable, because I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't understand, I tried to find the person, and I tried to do this because I was like, I can't accept this. Why'd you send me this? It was. Yeah. So it's just there's so many different stories that people that tell me like, hey, I stopped drinking because of you. I stopped doing this because of you. I'm here because of you. And then we get the people in here that share their stories, and then people respond to them and say, I saw your story, and this is where I was at, and now this is what I'm doing. And it's incredible. It's incredible. Like I said, man, I'm truly blessed to be where I'm at. I'm truly man. I'm sitting in front of Freddie freaking Cruz right now.
I'm nobody, dude. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy. But it all goes back to how you can't control. There's some things you can't control, but you can control how you respond to them. And at least to me, it seems like that's sort of what you're teaching the people who reach out to you is like, hey, this, what happened when you were serving happened, and that was beyond your control. But this is how you can respond to the trauma that you've experienced. And it's by doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah, Charlie Mike, you got to continue the mission. I'm glad I passed out that night. And I say it sometimes, I say like, I can take myself back there to that night mentally if I need it as a wake up, if I need it as a wake up call, because it changed me, man. It changed me for the better.
I'm glad you passed out too.
Yeah.
My brother, I'm so proud of you.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you for welcoming me into your podcast studio to thank you for coming by the show.
This is your studio.
It's not my studio. Pearland Podcast Studio, by the way, y'all. A beautiful place to come and record your podcast if you decide to do it with Charlie Mike, the podcast. Love it. Raul, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Freddie.